Welcome back to TLDW's All That Glitters Part 2. Quick recap, we're unveiling the mysteries of conflict between the buddies Musen, Jingtiao and Jianzhi, who they recently murdered. This brings our story back a couple of years into their past. Everyone's been hustling their way up the societal ladder. Musen, a successful gold investment manager, Jingtiao, just graduating from his Muay Thai school, and Jianzhi, well, despite having his crush just confessed to him, is met with a betrayal by his business partner, putting him in a $300,000 debt. Musen, being the bro that he is, goes to his fiancée Zhenyu and asks for the dowry returned, to bail Jianzhi out. She's all sad though. My gold bars! With Jianzhi out of business and Jingtiao's career as a Muay Thai instructor stalling, Musen hires them both. They're down. Yay, friendship. Musen introduces Jianzhi to Richard, his boss of the investment company. Sidebar, Musen used to work for Richard's dad. Musen then gets his beloved cousin Jiahui to mentor him. Oh, but wait, let me let you in on some tea. Jianzhi and Jiahui once had a thing back in the day, so being around her again, he's feeling some heart tinglies. But work-wise, man's doing fantastic. So much so, she's getting jealous. She tries to pressure him to leave, threatening to use their history to break his friendship with Musen and hence his career as well. Boss Richard, turns out, has regular business disagreements with his dad, mostly because he's reckless with money. He's taken his investors' money and opened a casino behind their backs. Word spreads and investors are definitely unhappy about it. One even hires a hitman and puts a hit on him. Cue gunfight, to knife fight, to a heroic Jianzhi to the rescue! Hey, this scene like deja vu, huh? Jianzhi saves him, and so Richard invites him over after, rewarding him with $200,000 to gamble with, and one of his ladies too. Back at the office, poop starts to hit the fans, as investors looking to withdraw get impeded. After finding out the truth, Musen warns Jianzhi to get out of this scam of a company before it's too late. Knowing that he's likely to end up the fall guy, jail time impending, Musen decides to protect Zhenyu by cutting ties with her. He fabricates some story of him cheating so she alienates him. Zhenyu sees through it immediately, but still goes ahead with it, returning his dowry trying to help mitigate his sentence. Musen, met with her kindness once again, hears his heart shatter and leaves. Zhenyu runs after him, tears all over, asking him to still get married to her no matter what. Wait up, I need to get some tissues. And they do! Only to have him arrested on his wedding day? Hey, do you guys have to do this or not? At least let him get married first lah. Zhenyu's sitting there all by herself. No time for more tears. We return to present day. Musen and Jingtiao are tailed by the police. They're cornered. Musen decides to surrender, but Jingtiao doesn't want him to face a death sentence and continues driving. The police start firing. A lorry comes to their rescue, and they escape. Jingtiao's body suddenly starts to feel cold. He's been injured, fatally! Musen continues his escape but reluctantly leaves Jingtiao behind. We return to the past to find Jianzhi still working with Richard, not for the investment company, but the online casino he set up with stolen investor funds. Here, Richard meets Zhenting, Jianzhi's crush. They get flirty and Jianzhi gets the third wheel treatment. That same year, Musen is also released from prison for his past crimes. Enter scene, Xuemin, his big boss's daughter, the very person who offered him his previous job. But after serving time, Musen just wants to lead a life of isolation to avoid bringing more bad luck to the people around him. Before retreating to monkhood, aka farmer life, he finds out he has a daughter. Yes, a daughter! Back to Richard and Zhenting, they're getting serious. Jianzhi is jealous and even stirs up stories of Zhenting's past. Richard's villain arc grows as success gets to his head. He starts laying out all his hatred towards his family dynamics and even slaps his stepmom. Amidst the arguments, his dad suffers a stroke. Richard doesn't even flinch and continues to mock him. Xuemin, the stepsister, wants revenge and involves the police in their family feuds. So we jump just a year back. Remember Zhenting's skeletons in her closet? Turns out one of her exes still stalks her. Richard is serious about Zhenting, which means he's also serious about eliminating her problems and plots to kill him. Meanwhile, Jiahui meets up with Jianzhi and blackmails him for knowing Richard's nefarious schemes. Her plan? Extort $3 million as compensation for Musen. But actually, this ain't no act of justice. She just wants to keep the money because she's broke. Zhenting tries to warn her ex of Richard's murderous intent, but Jing, Richard's been following her, appears on scene and throws him off the car park. Zhenting's shooketh. Ain't no way she's returning to Richard's arms after that. Slighted, he orders Jianzhi to take care of Zhenting in similar fashion. She survives, but is now fully paralyzed. Jiahui, who has witnessed all this carnage, gets greedy and blackmails Richard. He offers her $2 million in hush money to cook up a story to the police. But she gets greedy, demanding for $20 million instead. She gets her money, but also gets smacked to death in the head by Jianzhi. Over at Farmville, Musen finds out about Zhenting's predicament in the papers and decides to return to Singapore to visit her. He then also learns of Jiahui's death and goes full vigilante mode to find his beloved cousin's killer. He starts with Jingtiao, who's now a singing beggar. He then reunites with Jianzhi as well. Jianzhi convinces Musen that Jiahui's fiancé is responsible for her death. Together, they search for him in Thailand. But before their travel plans, Zhenyu warns Musen that she suspects Jianzhi was involved in Zhenting and Jiahui's murder because Zhenting called her before her fall. The three bros set off to Thailand. After a few days of searching, they receive an anonymous tip that Jiahui's fiancé is being held hostage in a forest. Musen finds him first, but an assassin appears and tries to kill them both. They fight. Musen wins, but Jiahui's fiancé dies in the process. Jianzhi arrives on scene. How timely. And pulls out a gun demanding the truth. Unlike regular villain behavior, Jianzhi doesn't go full monologue and instead fires his gun multiple times. I mean, he could have finished it in one bullet, but it seems like old wounds run deep. He finds Jingtiao and runs away, convincing him that the assassin was the one who killed Musen. Plot armor in full effect, as all of Musen's vital organs were spared. He survives and awakens to none other than Xuemin, who manages to patch him up. Musen returns to Singapore to settle the score with Jianzhi. We come full circle, as this was the first scene in the beginning of the series. Now the gun in Musen's hands demands for the explanation once again. We know how this ends. Well, if you don't, go back and watch part 1 lah. Meanwhile, Xuemin receives an email from whom I assume would be Musen, attached being the evidence of Jianzhi's crime. She turns this into the police and immediately requests for protection. No doubt some good old female intuition as she gets abducted by Richard, who plans to have her lackeys saw her up. What is with these people? Mr. Police arrives in time, saving her from the lackey and chases Richard. Richard tries to run him over but is met with a bullet to the chest. Now that this case has been put to rest, what about Musen? Weak and tired, he's hiding in some abandoned lodge within the woods. He's been on the run from the police. He reflects how life could have turned out if he made different decisions. But alas, in his never-ending run, he decides to take his own life. To end, we get a flashback of the three bros' goals of being rich. Probably the author's note of reminding us what led them to their untimely demise. And with that, you've TLDW'd all that glitters. Oh, wait! I get it now! All that glitters, like money. Wow, that actually took me 2 parts. Okay, anyways, remember to like, share and subscribe. Let us know what show you want summed up next.